coverage begins Friday at 11 on Pac-12 Network.
Live from Los Angeles, it's Spike Night, Pac-12 volleyball presented by Tashikara. The Oregon State Beavers have made the trip down the coast to face the 9th-ranked UCLA Bruins. Taking a look at the Pac-12 standings, the Bruins up top along with Washington tied up as we enter the final weeks of conference play. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside Tammy Blackburn. And Tammy, these two teams have met before. UCLA came out on top this year. What is at stake tonight?
Well, UCLA is trying to win a conference championship, right? And surprisingly, for Pac-12 women's volleyball this year, there hasn't been a lot of separation from top to bottom. You saw the top 7 teams in the standings, and I think 5 out of those 7 have double-digit wins, right? For UCLA, they have a lot of great pieces. They have a lot of flexibility, and they're playing well down the stretch.
They are, and one of the keys to their offense has been a freshman in Tori Van Winden.
And certainly was something that's so impressive about this freshman is that coaches will tell you throughout the conference that other opponents will figure you out, especially in the second round of play. But Tori Van Winden has such repertoire, right? She has a lot of tools. You see her use the tip, her accuracy. She continues to bring it, and that has allowed her to be consistent throughout. Not many teams in this conference have been able to stop her.
The Bruins have reinvented themselves over and over again. They cannot afford a misstep. Meanwhile, the Beavs have won 3 of their last 5. Are they going to be spoilers? First serve coming up next.
Find your local dealer at TirePros.com.
Pac-12 women's volleyball is presented by Tashikara. We've got the ball, you bring the game. And by State Farm, here to help life go right. It's a beautiful night in Westwood for a UCLA team that has been soaring through conference play. Oregon State looking to play spoiler tonight, and head coach Mark Bernard of Oregon State feels like he's come up with a lineup that has really been able to settle in and be disruptive. Leela Toner has really benefited, he said, recently from some great setting to the outside. Meanwhile, Michael Seeley, head coach of UCLA, has fiddled with his lineup all season long, and Tammy, it has worked.
Yeah, it has, and he's settled in nicely, but really not the key word settled, right? Because Michael Seeley has players that can be flexible, and hey, if one player's not playing well here, you kind of plug these pieces of the puzzle in, and he said it's really been able to kind of work with that, and that really has been hugely successful for that coach right there in his 7th season.
He is a team who has proven their flexibility, and that's a great thing to have going into the NCAA tournament. Setter Ryan Chandler are going to start things off. UCLA runs a 6-2 offense. Welcome everybody to Pauley Pavilion. This match just getting started between UCLA and Oregon State. Started with an ace serve by Ryan Chandler of the Bruins, who are tied atop the Pac-12 standings with Washington. Chandler outside to Anderson. And the block. That's Van Winden, of whom you spoke.
That's right. That's what she does, right? So you're going to see a player and a freshman who not only is offensive-minded but defensive as well. And we said off the top, Anne-Marie, this player, Tori Van Winden, she's just so impressive because she's been able to be consistent throughout a very solid Pac-12 season. And really, opponents haven't been able to stop her very much.
The one-on-one block was perfect for Corey Cheshire of the Beavers.
The Beavers are going to have to make sure that their ball handling is very sharp tonight. It has to be keen. You're not going to get a lot of points from UCLA. They take their match seriously, and they've really not going to just lay down and make errors and hand you these opportunities. So Oregon State has to be sharp.
That one Cheshire hit on the way down. Nobody ready for it on the Bruin side. As Cheshire comes back to serve, Maddie Gravely comes up front for the Beavers, number 8 in black up front. Cheshire serving. Chandler goes to Frager. outside. Jordan Anderson just rips it.
Yeah, coaches around this conference have been talking about Jenny Frager for UCLA, right? And the ability for UCLA to set the middle when they get the good passing, but you've also got balance at the net for UCLA. You know what Jordan Anderson can do. Riley Buechler just having a remarkable season. There is Jordan Anderson, one of 5 seniors on this UCLA team that will be honored next week.
And a second ace serve early in this first set.
Got to be able to handle, serve, receive. It is the key in the beginning to being able to run and set up things to execute.
Frager loses that one as Hollingsworth pushes second and wins the joust. McKenna Hollingsworth setting as well. Oregon State running a 6-2 offense. Overdig, and Marshall puts it away.
Yeah, that's what Mary-Kate Marshall will do, right? She's there to play that overdig, as you call it, and very nice job for her to be there. You really come to appreciate in this player, Mary-Kate Marshall, the junior for Oregon State, and when you see how she's grown throughout this program, and you wonder what she could do, and she just has a few more little pieces around her. This is an Oregon State team, Emery, that is building. They are playing well down the stretch, having won 3 of their last 5, looking to disrupt late here in the season to some of these teams. UCLA doesn't want to be one of them this evening.
Yeah, your point's really well taken that, you know, for Mary-Kate Marshall, you talked with Mark Bernard, as did I earlier this week, about how critical she's been. And he said, look, she's great, but she wants to be called out. She's a key component for us, but she by no means feels like she's a diva or a star. Mark Bernard in his first season at the helm of this program.
Great thing for Mary-Kate Marshall is that she is willing to learn, and she's very coachable. And Mark Bernard in his first season, as you mentioned, and having Terry Liskevich retire, has an opportunity to help her grow this year and next year as a senior as well. And
consecutive points for Oregon State. Back on the board as the passing for UCLA has gone off the mark a bit. Formico, perfect, goes to Frager. And turn just a little wide, and like that, it's tied up.
Yeah, just a hitting error there by Frager, who's usually so solid. Well, you see it here, just a absolute perfect serve receive, gets a nice pass up, which allows for that set in the middle.
Outside through the block.
Reagan, big swing. And what more can she do? Explosive vertical jump. The athlete being able to try to get that done. And you see she does. She goes right through the hands of Buechler.
You mentioned Tammy, Oregon State winning 3 of their last 5, but they're not going to play in the NCAA tournament. UCLA is. UCLA is trying to win a conference tournament. Oregon State has nothing to lose and everything to gain. They're loose.
They come down here to Southern California trying to play the spoiler. You said that right off the top, disruptive, but UCLA, they just want to stay focused. They want to play their volleyball. Remember, they're coming off of a season sweep of Stanford this year, a remarkable performance for UCLA, who has performed well all season long.
Yeah, it's their first sweep over the Cardinal since 2011.
And a team for UCLA, Emery, that really important to point out, they really haven't taken their foot off the pedal, right? They've been pressing the gas since the very beginning. They won 7 straight, went 7-0 to start the season, the best start since 2006.
Ball is long, and to your point, Michael Seeley saying at the end of preseason, hey, we were 9-1, but we were surviving, not thriving, and that is why he started changing up the offense and kept changing it up all season long until he found something that worked. Reagan. Back again, Kyra Holt. I'm sorry, Kyra Holt. I do it that way. Kyra Rogers. Holt.
I put Kyra Holt in your head before this match. I was talking about how good she was. I saw her perform on Sunday, but here's another one, Kyra Rogers.
Thank you.
Done a nice job. And how about the block for Oregon State?
She's also been an integral part for the Bruins. What a block cover by the Bruins, and here goes Rogers.
You know, you talked about surviving but not thriving, and how nice is it, though, to be able to survive and be okay?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's different than surviving and and losing some and really going kind of on a downhill the trajectory. You want to be going on the upswing, and that's what UCLA has been able to figure out how to do.
Down ball opportunity for the Bruins. They go outside. Rogers holding the block, but a huge dig by Ellis. And then just cut too sharp.
Nicely done by Ellis. It has been a treat this season in Pac-12 women's volleyball to see the defense, the great libero activity, the back row, the defensive specialists that come in and give that support. Ellis, an ever-presence in that back row for Oregon State.
Cheshire, great connection.
You look at this, and that was just beautifully executed. Talk about the connection, right? The connection, what Mark Bernard is, talking to us about, and making sure that the timing and the rhythm has got to be there. Says at times it hasn't been this year, and that's where we've fallen apart.
Sam Rulo now serving and setting for the Beavs. Reagan with heat. Oregon State beat Arizona, Washington State, and Colorado in these last 5 games. All teams that have done very well this season, and they are taking it to the Bruins early.
A miscue there again by UCLA, giving up far more points than I thought they would to this Oregon State team early on in this match. But Oregon State making it interesting and keeping it close.
Formico stepping in front so that Van Winden can concentrate on the swing. Rogers and Felix. Left hand, or right hand.
Nicely done again by the freshman. You're seeing her prowess, right? Her offensive prowess. Watch her. She's getting into position. Her approach is good. And then we told you off the top that she has different ability to do that. A nice tip there. Did use her left hand on that side.
Yeah, it's interesting because she's a lefty, but she brings up that right hand too, and you think, is she going to touch it right or left? That's a nightmare for a blocker. No doubt there, though. Good swing.
How about the line that she had against Stanford? 19 kills, 8 digs, 4 blocks, 2 aces.
Obviously hadn't read the history on Stanford or didn't care.
What history, she said.
Yeah, exactly.
She asked.
Strong serving from Taylor Formico, another senior who is playing her last few matches here inside Pauley Pavilion. Marshall's pass is good. Reagan coming straight up the middle.
Yeah, you see how good they are again. Mary Kate Marshall just so solid, being able to make sure that Service Stevens was on the mark, and then they're going to be able to get Reagan that look down the middle, and nobody there. You can't block that.
Felix muscles it through, and the Bruins build a 3-point lead halfway through set number 1. The Bruins and Beavs trading blows. Set to the middle works for Claire Felix.
The 2016 Nissan Rogue.
And you're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Take a look at these Pac-12 standings on Spike Night, presented by Tashikara. Washington and UCLA atop the Pac-12 conference, and only a week and a half left to play.
I think Utah, who sits right there in that 5th spot at 10-6, really had a remarkable week last week. They really helped themselves. They went on the road and swept the Oregon schools, coming back at positioning themselves. But it's been such an interesting and such a fun Pac-12 women's volleyball conference. Washington State, who actually took care of home territory there, beating Arizona State on Friday night, and then Arizona on Sunday. Arizona went kind of on the skids on the road trip to Washington, lost to both Washington and Washington State, so fell to 8-8. Still a very good ball club is Arizona.
Once around the dial, both teams have gone, and a huge block on Anderson.
Well, I tell you, Oregon State looks sharp. Now, we just talked about Washington State and where they're going and moving up the rankings, right? This is an Oregon State team that beat Washington State. So Oregon State has the goods, has the skills, has been able to shock some teams and beat some real good teams.
Off hands dug by Reagan. Kind of a blind swing by Marshall. Van Winden into the campfire she goes. As Tori Van Winden comes out, Savvy Simo enters, a freshman out of Rancho Santa Fe. And Michael Seeley said he's had so much talent on the court this season. He said Savvy Simo could play a lot of different positions. She has taken great pride in her defense this season. Bushler uses her left. And it's became a short court, half court game of tipping until Anderson brings power.
Riley Bushler took a page out of Tori Van Winden's book and made a nice shot subsequently. Jordan Anderson is able to finish with a nice cross-court shot.
Marshall down the line, and what a dig! Pancake, it's up. Yeah, Formico actually will eat that up for breakfast. And put down from the right, Caitlin Driscoll.
Great effort, too, by both sides. Really applaud. Chandler had an amazing play. Look at that dig. And then after that, Anne-Marie, you call it a pancake by Formico. And then on the other side, Oregon State staying in it, battling back. Point Beavers.
That is the book on UCLA, always. They will get things up that you think are down. You can never relax.
A little bit like Panina Snuka at Arizona, right? You think a ball is down, and then there it goes. Still can't believe she was Defensive Player of the Week as a setter, right?
She's
we asked
outrageous.
Dave Rubio, when's the last time you thought you remember that happening? Because I don't remember.
She betters the ball than any player in the league. Consistently betters the ball every time. Off the block goes Jordan Anderson.
Look at Chandler work just to try to make something for Jordan Anderson, and then Jordan Anderson really gives it right back to Chandler by making sure that she uses that block as her friend. I like that.
Pass was perfect. Beavs had options. They went to Marshall. Formico, pass on the money. And this time it's Bushler on the right. She had a great match against Stanford as well, Bushler did.
She did, really. I mean, the two, Van Winden and Bushler, when you combine their numbers, they were impressive. A very formidable duo there when you think about trying to be able to stop them, throw in the middles that can be, we've seen Claire Felix, we've seen Frager, and then, of course, you've got Jordan Anderson. So, again, all those weapons for UCLA coming together, too, at the right time. What a great season.
Yeah, 37 kills from the right side for Bushler and Van Winden. UCLA sets the right so much. It's something that we talked with Mark Bernard about. And Bruins ball as they reach the 20-point mark.
You know, UCLA has really kind of battled through this set number one, right? OSU has made it interesting. They've been fighting and grinding, but I think UCLA has just made a few more plays defensively to allow them to pull away here, and they are up by 4, hoping to use this 20-point plateau as a turning point to take care of set number one.
The AVCA top 25 rankings, been Pac-12 teams as many as 7 or 8 at times this season in the top 25.
It's been a lot of fun, and we told you off the top, a bit surprising for me that not 1, 2, or 3 teams have really pulled away. There was just a lot of close, tight races, and the records will show you that at least the top 7 in the standings for Pac-12. But check out the rankings as we scroll through this impressive resume that is the Pac-12 women's volleyball, gaining the nation's respect. Nebraska, Minnesota, the top 2 teams, Wisconsin not far behind at 22-3, and there is Washington, UCLA. Stanford goes down to number 12. Talked about Beth Lanier and that Utah Ute squad at the 16th ranked team in the nation. Oregon still continues to be impressive. Boy, do they run a really exciting and explosive offense.
They do, and when you mention Utah, I mean, has anybody been more consistent and done more for their team this year than Adora Anand?
Yeah, I talked about last week, she could easily get the player of the year, right? I mean, it's so hard to choose so many great players. And she certainly is right up there and one of them.
Yeah, and she's just been so consistent. I mean, usually you'll see a little dip somewhere, but she has not.
Also what she brings to that squad and what she does and how she leads them.
Kylie Miller, a freshman for the Bruins, serving and setting now. As you mentioned, the Bruins had hit the 20-point mark. Power dig. Inside, and now looking for the hitter from the backcourt. Marshall. Simo on the run. Reagan. Again, she leads all hitters with 4 kills.
You know, important point for Oregon State, something that they've done quite well this year, has been able to take care of their free ball opportunities, and that was a free ball opportunity for Oregon State, and they're able to turn around and terminate. Also extending rallies. That's something else that's been a little bit more impressive this year by Oregon State.
Block laying in wait for Felix. And now Beeves within 2. Trouble pass. Bushler stays back and is able to deliver another kill.
Well, you get one there if you're UCLA. Not a great pass, and you called it Anne-Marie trouble, but Riley Bushler, who so often does, that cleans things up, and UCLA hits 21, goes up again by 3.
Bushler has played both outside and opposite for this team this year. At times she's been a primary passer, at times front court only. She's been flexible. That's the Bruins' mark. Rogers, and the cover by Formico. A net violation will put it in Bruins' favor.
Well, you can see the block right here, and the block of Oregon State on the prior play, and that's the tip to try to go over the block, and you see the violation that gives that to UCLA.
Wow! 2 epic digs from the Bruins side. Long rally, Reagan, and it gets a touch.
Formico, UCLA does much, right? Just unheralded at times. You try to celebrate defensive plays, especially liberos in this league, which we talked about else for Oregon State. We've seen it as well. Both come to this match with impressive numbers.
Outside, Reagan has had the hot hand for Oregon State, but that one out.
No touch there, didn't call for it, didn't think she got it, and Oregon State now a bit of a danger zone here. Formico back to serve for UCLA. UCLA only 2 points away from grabbing set number 1.
Anderson somehow turns that. Textbook dig. Oh, no rest on defense.
Quick to Anderson, then back to Anderson, and then the back set to Van Winden, who puts it away. There's the second one right there, and then there it is, the finish for UCLA, set point number 1.
Coming around behind, and it will not end because there's a net violation on that block. Lanisha Reagan, redshirt sophomore, played only a little bit as a freshman for the Beavs, but has been critical this season. Anderson sends one wide, and it'll now be UCLA set point number 3. Back to Van Winden, block of Marshall's huge. Rulo making it clear. Little tip. No rest, though. The long rally, always key. When you play UCLA, longest rally of the game, can UCLA finish out the set? Or will Oregon State fight off set 3? They fight off another set point.
Wow, and I just mentioned this. Oregon State extending the rallies, digging the ball as much as they can, keeping it alive.
The Beavs have fought off 4 UCLA set points.
What a rally it was. You just have to admire both squads going at it. I thought they tried their best. Look at that one-on-one there. Cheshire gets the block on Felix. Then you go to the other end. Bushler doing some great work here in that rally. In the back row is a defender. And Anderson goes long and keeps Oregon State alive. UCLA up by 2, 24-22. What is this, set point number 4, set point number 5 for
this
UCLA coming up,
yeah.
right?
Yep, they fought off 4 already. Taking a look at the Bruins in the Pac-12 ranks, biggest one is that top one, 17 digs per set. Taylor Formico does things that are unfathomable for most.
Yeah, I mean, and she really is spectacular. And then you see a rally like that, and you also see what Bushler can do and several of the other defenders. But that's why these numbers are up. It is Formico, but it's not just Formico. This is a great defensive team with a defensive mind, and that's what allows them to get in transition and really be able to be so good offensively.
24 digs in this set alone for the Bruins. And Formico had 12.
Half of those.
In one set. Yeah. That's incredible. It's more than just, of course, the digs, as you know. It's more than just the passing. It's the way she commands the defense.
Yeah, you know, she has to play the second ball at times, too. I mean, she does. I mean, she really just knows the game. She has great court awareness. And
set point number 5 for the Bruins. And they go to Van Winden to finish out set 1, but the Beavs fought hard, sent a message. Bruins had to work hard in set number 1, and the Beavs have sent the message, bring your A game. Tori Van Winden finished it off with a kill. You've off the block.
You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Only at your Honda dealer.
Spike Night presented by Tashikara and Pac-12 Network. Great volleyball. 9th-ranked UCLA fighting hard against an Oregon State Beavers team who has been getting better and better with each match. They've won 3 of their last 5.
You know, impressive, right? I mean, they held UCLA to their own, and I think they competed in this set number 1 without question. But UCLA made a few more plays, and Tori Van Winden, the freshman, no surprise, she's hitting 500, 5 kills, 10 total attempts, no error. She got a lot of help from the defense to be able to get in transition and get those shots up. Taylor Formico, you had mentioned it, 12 digs of the 24 total. Riley Bushler, 7 digs. Very, very impressive, and there's Van Winden's numbers.
Tori Van Winden, certainly a massive candidate, a leading candidate for Freshman of the Year.
Without question. She's been named Pac-12 Freshman of the Week for the 2nd time this season. This week it was announced by the conference this past Monday, a couple days ago.
Cheshire serving. And Van Winden hit that so hard and knew it was coming back.
Yeah, Mary Kate Marshall feels good about that, right? Number 15 there, the junior who goes up there. Look at that one-on-one. That's rare, but very well done and executed by Mary Kate Marshall, who just leans into the right.
Beautiful up, pokey. Tough serving by the Beavers, paying off. No surprises in the lineup for either team for the 2nd set. Outside to Anderson, no look.
You see a couple players in the Pac-12 who have that same style, that same move, and it's like a no-look pass in basketball. We were talking about that last week. Anderson's looking cross-court and just goes right down the line. She's able to turn it and really use her positioning.
And at the same time, she hasn't pulled it out of her pocket yet, but she can look down that line and cut it so sharp you think the net must have disappeared. She's got it all. Jordan Anderson has a huge spray of balls. She'll pull them all out at some point today. Been quite an addition to this team the year before last. You mentioned she's a senior, but this is only her second year.
Yep, the transfer from West Virginia. Great transfer for this UCLA team. And
outside. Ball's a little low, but they are able to make it work. Chandler and Felix, or Prager, excuse me.
And I really just like how Formico and Van Winden just communicated there. And you see what Formico brings to this team. You talked, it's not just about her digs, right? It's commanding and being a leader on the floor, and was no way going to let Van Winden get that ball. She just stepped in and said, I got it, get out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what she does. She just maneuvers people, right? They open channels of communication. It's so key. It just helps everybody be in the right place at the right time.
Even as you watch her check in either side of her serve receive with Bushler and Van Winden preparing to receive this serve. Formico in the middle. Bushler spot on. She's having quite a year. One arm, of course it's going over. That's what they do. Hollingsworth back. Toner, dog. Toner changes her pace. I do not know how Formico has that quick first step. No touch.
Again, another great rally by both of these teams. Watch this one-hander by Formico behind her to keep that ball alive. Couple more great ones. Here she is diving in to give great protection behind that block.
Over. Bushler uses her left. They're hitting Chandler hard. Formico setting second ball. Free ball to the back. Little ball. Everything going to Chandler. They're going to make somebody else handle that second ball. Net by the Beavs.
Tell you, we have been treated early on to some great volleyball, great hustle plays. I mean, you can see Oregon State coming down here to Southern California saying, we're not going to the NCAA tournament, but we're going to play with pride. We're going to try to beat a really good team. The 9th-ranked team in the nation, UCLA. Meanwhile, I will tell you, you're right, going at Chandler, Formico, Jordan Anderson, everybody else stepping up because Chandler's taking that first one.
And on this one rotation where Formico is out, we'll see who takes the second ball. Because they make Chandler handle the first. Rogers sets the second. The block's lying in wait. Formico on her way back in.
Take a look at this block here, and you see a good penetration. Good hands there, too. Good hand work, good eye work.
Wow, power from Rogers.
Oh, boy. Just explosive here. You know, we've seen this throughout the Pac-12. Absolutely no doubt about it. Look at the quick arm swing, the follow-through. That was quick.
Rogers did not see a lot of time early in the season. She might have subbed Jordan Anderson here and there. She has taken swings from the right, middle, and left this season. Making sure her name stays on the coach's lips with kills like that.
Bet.
Two-point lead for the Bruins in set number 2. Kylie Miller back to serve. Bushler, Rogers, and Felix up front. Serving's tough. And Toner is shut down.
That was pretty. Bushler on the outside, Felix to come in and close it out. Watch the two. Felix was just waiting. She just timed it right. It's all about the timing there. She took an extra little stutter step to make sure the timing is right and got it right.
To the middle. Treble play. Formico comes in, puts something up for Bushler. Set in the middle on a tight set. Wanting to keep those blockers honest.
Nice read. Boy, Rogers, very impressive. Communication behind her, letting her know the availability of what was the right decision, and boy, she just took something off. Oh, nicely done.
The 5 seniors of UCLA doing their best. Second set action versus Oregon State.
Home of the UCLA Bruins.
12 Los Angeles.
Time now for our State Farm right combination.
Why not, right? 8 digs for Bushler and 16 digs for Formico, and these two have really gotten it done defensively, and then the offense trying to take care of things out of that great defensive effort. Long rallies by both of these teams. You have to appreciate what Oregon State has brought to Southern California, and right now UCLA just ahead by 4 points over the Beavers in this set number 2, with UCLA 1 set to none.
Yeah, and they're forcing Oregon State into hitting negative numbers so far in this set.
At that break, while we were away, Ryan Chandler for UCLA being tended to on her right arm by the medical training staff.
UCLA on a 5-0 run.
There's Chandler.
For UCLA, the pressure is really on them in this match. They cannot afford a misstep at the end of the season if they want to take the conference title.
You know, and they want to play strong too. They don't just want to win or squeak by Oregon State. They want to win with authority and have no question in mind about the trajectory that they're on late here in finishing the season strong.
And one of the tough things for anybody playing the Oregons is, and for Michael Seeley, he has to prepare for this match, that Oregon State doesn't upset them. But in 2 days, he's playing an Oregon team who has been very dangerous and who is out for blood because UCLA took down Oregon in Eugene. Not a lot of time to prepare for them.
19th ranked team in the nation, who we talked about the offense they run is explosive, exciting, and they just keep coming at you. You're not going to get a lot of blocks against Oregon. So what do? You need to find offense when you're playing against Oregon.
That's right, and right now it's Oregon State and the power from Bushler.
Well, and UCLA's finding their offense just fine.
Yeah, they are. Bushler has really been incredible in every position. She hit that one from the right. She's been on the left much of the season. Van Winden puts up a nice ball. And power again.
And you think some of the best blocking teams in the conference will tell you it's not easy to block Oregon, but it's also not easy. You see and hear how difficult it is to block UCLA at times. And when you've got power hitters like Jordan Anderson, Van Winden, all with a lot of different shots, right? They just change and they make reads, and that's what they do really well. And can be impressive, very difficult to defend.
The freshman class for Stanford's the #1 in the nation coming in, but Oregon's freshman class, 4 players, or 4th ranked, who have really been impactful for them. 4 players who have been incredible. Oregon State answering back now, and up front for Oregon State comes Caitlin Driscoll, a redshirt senior, started for this team for 3 years. She had shoulder surgery. She's not in pain anymore, but it's really tough to get the full power back after that. Pulled off the net with the pass, going to Van Winden. High and lost in the air.
See the presence of the block. Oregon State doesn't come in as one of those teams that wows you with their block, but they work hard at the net defensively, and Mark Bernard really admiring the work ethic of the personnel on his team. And meanwhile, Claire Felix taking care of the middle. When UCLA is passing well and taking care of it, they like to go to the middles when they can. If not Claire Felix, we've seen Jenny Frager. Oregon State has to think about defending, 28, 29, 30 feet across the net. When they're passing well, UCLA, run the pins, run the middle, tough.
Mark Bernard takes a timeout, wants to stop the roll that the Bruins are on. We're enjoying a great season of Pac-12 women's volleyball, and football has been thrilling as well. Hey, settle in Saturday. It's a triple header. Oregon versus 12th ranked Utah will start off the day at 11 a.m. Then the battle in the Bay, Stanford and Cal at 2:30. Followed by Arizona versus Oregon State Saturday at 7:30. Pac-12 football. Pre-game show starts at 10 a.m. and Utah has really been incredible. Joe Williams averaging 157 rushing yards per game.
And you take a look at Stanford and Cal, who sit right there, 5-3 for Stanford. Cal at 2-5. They are in that North Division. They will face in that battle of the Bay that you mentioned. Utah's loss to Cal last week certainly stung a bit, Anne-Marie Anderson, and so did Washington's loss to a USC team that is 13th in the nation in that South Division at 6-2. But good news for Washington is that they only dropped 2 spots to number 6, so things look pretty good still for the Washington team. And of course, Washington State at 7-0. They had a big weekend and an exciting game Saturday night in Pullman against Cal. That was a late night game and a late night for everybody in Pullman, and it was a weekend of basketball up there for the Cougars.
Taking a look at these set 2 stats, Oregon State hitting negative numbers. That's just so tough to overcome. UCLA just steady, hitting 208. But the 3 service aces tells only part of the story. Formico, when it's not an ace, is putting people badly out of system like this one. Miscommunication as Anderson appeared to really expect something different.
Now, Claire Felix, one of the leaders on this team, it literally goes over and says, Jordan, let's scratch that. Let's forget about that. That was just a misstep by UCLA. And try to side out here for the Bruins.
From the backcourt, Reagan, solo block, Felix. Marshall funneled perfectly to Formico. Formico to Van Winden on the right, the cover by Miller. And a use of the block on a long rally.
Yeah, nice job again. Oregon State, how many long rallies have we been treated to? Oregon State's going to pick up the point here, just staying in it, not giving up, and trying to stay as organized as they can and rallying through scrambles, but playing as clean as they can too.
Reagan, whip of an arm, puts it back over, and Driscoll pats it down.
Nice job by Driscoll to react and just plays that as an overpass. She's ready at the net to return it. Look at Reagan and the explosive ability there out of the back when Oregon State can stay in system. She is certainly an option. And Lanisha Reagan, the redshirt sophomore.
Mark Bernard talking to his team, first year as the head coach of the Beavs, but he certainly was around for many years under Coach Terry Liskevich.
Yeah, and learned a lot. And we've talked so much about assistant coaches in this league, no matter what sport it is, who actually get up and move one chair over, right? And we've seen that quite a bit. Well, Coach Bernard has had that opportunity this year. It says he's really trying to build the basic principles of this program, and obviously recruiting is a huge priority for him and his coaching staff. And His experience, well, it's second to none. Truly the Australian national women's team head coach from 1997 to 2005, which he talks about how much he enjoyed those years, and the junior men's team head coach, how much he learned in those 4 years there before he went on to be part of this Oregon State program as an associate head coach, as he was promoted throughout his time, and now gets the nod at the helm.
Yeah, and we talked to him about that transition, 18 inches over, as we say, 1 seat over, and how it's different. And coaches always talk about the volume of things that you need to handle, but he's the first one to say, and you lose the favorite uncle tag, because as the assistant, the players might talk to you about something. Now you're the head guy, and you lose a little bit of that.
Keegan Cook said the same thing, right, to us last year, no doubt. Women's volleyball coach at University of Washington. Some of the basketball coaches who have moved over said, well, now it's on me. I can't look to the head coach. Now I've got to make the decision. So yeah, they all go through the same transition.
Bruins ball off of that one, and the Bruins lead by 5 in set number 2. Oregon State handling the extended rallies very well. That is one of the things that some teams don't handle well. And we talk about Mark Bernard. He's so pleased that the team is playing on an upward trajectory towards the end of the season. That means they're learning. I
think Washington has done that well too. I think that they are extending rallies when they can. I think they've been able to stay in matches because of that very skill.
In comes Maddie Gravely, up front, number 8 in black for Oregon State. Cheshire serves. Ping-ponging around goes the ball to the middle again, and that connection has been between those two since they were 12 years old.
And again, both of those opportunities for Frager, those swings, if I'm not mistaken, I know this one came from Formico from the back, right? But I think the first one opportunity that she missed also came. It starts in the back there with Formico. And then Frager in the middle. Boy, UCLA can be so impressive out of the middle.
Yeah, Frager and Chandler have played club ball together since they were 12 years old. We talk all the time, Tammy, about that connection between middle and setter. It's awfully nice when it's experienced. Another Bruin point. Savvy Simo serving for the Bruins. And an ace serve for Savvy Simo.
A tough time to have a ball handling error, and right now Caitlin Driscoll for Oregon State turning around and telling her team, hey, we've got to clean it up, because UCLA, you can start to feel a 7-point lead here in set number 2. They would like to pull away and close this out, so Oregon State's got to do all the little things.
Big dig by Simo, free ball to the Beavs. Rulo stays behind. And it's become short court, half court. Formico, and Bushler rips the seam.
And she goes right at Gravely, right? The redshirt sophomore, and just uses it right off the hands there. Gravely, number 8, Riley coming in and just uses that so nicely. Nice attack by Bushler.
Looking at Michael Seeley talking to her afterwards, saying that was fast, that was great. Quick arm she had, and the quick arm from Gravely coming back the other way.
Redshirt sophomore who's getting the nod by Coach Bernard, and he says that we use her for being more attacking minded, that capability, and so that's why we made the choice to be able to put her in. Gets the start here today for Oregon State. Nice little player.
Yeah, Serena Bruin is missed due to a family emergency.
We wish her and her family the best too.
We certainly do, and so she's missed 3 matches. Gravely and Seumalu doing work for the Beavs in her absence. Jordan Anderson serving, 7 aces for the Bruins, and many more out-of-system plays off of their tough serving. Reagan flying from the backcourt, so low.
Frager was there. She read it. I love the explosiveness, though, out of the back by Reagan. Watch her just launch. Here she goes. 1, 2, 3, up. Big swing. Frager right back.
Triple block, and the Bruins take it down with them. That's so satisfying for Marshall.
Feels good for the Bruins there on that triple block. Coming up at intermission, the Beavers men's hoops upset at home. UCLA men's and women's soccer previews for you. The Sports Report update. Anne-Marie, always fun to listen to.
Yep, Kate Rooney will be holding it down in the Pac-12 Network studios as we kind of reset between sets 2 and 3, and it looks like Oregon State needs to reset a bit as well.
Yeah, I think so, certainly. You know, they're just really kind of falling apart here at the end of set 2. They obviously hung very well in set number 1. Played well for the first 12, 13 points here in set number 2, but UCLA making some not only timely plays, doing all the little things, and making some big plays as well.
Free ball. Formico starts it. You know they're going to go to Felix.
So quick, too, right? Felix was ready, too. Got her steps right, got her footwork right, communicated, and watch it right here. 1, 2, 3, and just dials it up quickly, puts it right down.
Set point for UCLA. They won set number 1. Reagan, Doug, outside. One-on-one, not going to do it. UCLA, it takes the first 2 sets over the Beavs. UCLA success over the Beavs, hitting 262 in set number 2. Take a look again at set point.
Very impressive. No doubt that Riley Bushler was going to put this one away. A perfect pass out of the back. Great set. And a little kick at the end by Jamie Robbins.
Mike Seeley joining us now. Coach, success in the first 2 sets. You were pushed a bit. What would you like to see happen in set 3 in terms of things you want to work on?
You know, I think we're serving well. I think they're out of system a lot. I think our block defense is fine. We're not executing on the offensive side. And we had a conversation on one of the timeouts, like, hey, that's okay. Let's just be okay with that and figure out what it's like to grind. I think we're coming off about three matches in a row where we've been kind of clicking offensively, and now we're not. And you just got to be prepared for those nights as well.
Coach, very impressive defensively. 51 digs by your team, really getting after it. How have you been able to use that defense to get in transition and be effective offensively?
Well, we got 51 digs because every time we dig a ball, we're not putting it away, and we got to dig another one. You know, I think in the past we were good about, I think we're digging a ball and setting a hittable ball, but we're not digging a ball and running offense back at them.
Thanks so much for joining us, Coach.
You got it.
Seeley saying you got to know how to grind, and a grind it can be. This team getting ball after ball up as they try to firm things up before they hit the NCAA tournament. Tori Van Winden, 7 kills for UCLA through the first 2 sets. The Beavs, no doubt, drawing up a few things on the board. We're going to send it to Kate Rooney in the Pac-12 and Network studios, and then back here at Poly Pavilion, Spike Night, presented by Tashikara, rolls on.
You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Spike Night, presented by Tashikara, Poly Pavilion, and it's Oregon State and 9th-ranked UCLA are battling it out. UCLA up 2 sets to none. State head coach Mark Bernard joining us now. And coach, what adjustments can you make for set 3?
Well, I think one of the things we need to do is they're just going straight out on our outside hitters with a double block. We've got to run a lot more ball through the middle, even through the right side. And obviously we've got to pass a lot better, because that at the moment is really limiting what we can do in our offense. And that has certainly slowed us down.
Coach, you really grinded really well in set number 1. First 10 or 11 points in set number 2, played well, and then they kind of pulled away. What more can you do in set number 3 to extend the rallies and just try to hang in there to this great UCLA team?
Well, one of the things we're doing, I think we're scrambling well defensively, but all we're really doing is just putting the ball back on the other side and they're swinging away again. So we just got to be a little better in controlling the ball on our side so we can get a better swing in transition. We're just not putting enough pressure on them with our attack and giving them too many easy balls, and so we're always on the back foot just trying to defend against them hitting at us.
Mark Bernard saying the same thing to us, Tammy, that Michael Seeley did. He wants to see his team be more terminal earlier in the rally.
Yeah, a little bit more aggression. And, Michael Seeley made a really good point about, if we're digging the ball, but then we're not really doing anything with it and terminating, then we got to come back and dig a ball again. So great defense by UCLA. Certainly the numbers are impressive, 51 digs. UCLA looking to set the ball well here in set number 3, get the attacking that they want from where they want. But I tell you, Anne-Marie, without question, Taylor Formico, UCLA the libero, so impressive. For me, a big standout in this match.
Oh, she has been incredible throughout her entire career. And the Bruins are certainly going to miss her. Just a couple more matches at home for the Bruins. 2 errors to start off the 3rd set. And Oregon State goes up. And take a look at Formico's numbers.
Yeah, 21 of the 51 digs that UCLA has. She's got them. 2 service aces. All the other things, too, that cannot be measured on a stat sheet that she does. The communication, the leadership, stepping in front of a player to take a ball.
Jordan Anderson with that one starts to work her cutty into it a bit. Both Anderson and Formico played on the beach team as well. Bushler, long.
Bushler after that one, hoping for a touch, not going to get it. Oregon State, this is a good start for them. It's necessary, right? Crucial set number 3, Hollingsworth. Will go back for serve.
And a substitution for Oregon State as Emily Wilms comes in on the right, number 1 in black. Wilms, a senior out of St. Paul, Oregon.
Transfer from Long Beach State University. Has played sparingly in her career, but Coach Bernard trying to put her in and really trying to mix something up here in this set number 3. And it's a must-win to stay alive for Oregon State as UCLA is up 2.
Nice power by Wilms to get her first kill of the match on her 2nd swing. And you mentioned she's played sparingly in part because of that damaged thumb that you see bandaged on her left hand. But that is not her hitting hand. Right-handed, just delivered a nice ball.
Nice serve receive by Bushler, and then they go right back to her. Good dig by Oregon State.
Outside to Rogers. Reagan trying to chop head off. And this is the terminal that the coaches are looking for. These rallies, both coaches said to us, need to be finished earlier. Never over. 4 contacts.
Not the prettiest of rallies by either team, but Oregon State comes out the winner, and Mary Kate Marshall looking to go back and serve again and try to rip off a few points here to steal the momentum away from UCLA.
Not a lot of blocking today either.
Certainly not on that one. Riley Bushler with a great attack. Just coming right at you again. For UCLA, they are just so sharp on the pass, and then that set when they get what they wanted. No question by Bushler.
Her first kill of this set, 8 on the day. She's going to head towards another double-double, Bushler is. Miller outside again to Bushler. Kill number 9.
I liked the transition by UCLA. Claire Felix specifically in the middle. Formico handled this one. Felix was looking for it a little too tight there to be able to try to set that middle, and so you go on the outside there, and boy, nicely executed.
Reagan out of the middle, springy. Coach talked to us about The way that Reagan elevates, an error there, and Oregon State up by 2.
If we've watched Reagan and her explosive ability, how much do we enjoy watching some of the other explosive players in this conference? Nikki Withers at USC and Elise Ford, who we know can really get up. Some of these other fun players to watch who touch, you know, over 10, and they may be undersized, but they've just got this incredible leaping ability.
Well, and you'll see them all on one floor on Friday.
Friday, that's for sure.
Oregon State versus USC. Cheshire able to push one through, and Oregon State pushing hard, set number 3. Sam Rulo, a junior transfer from Bennington Community College, has had 3 double-doubles. Runs the middle a lot, so we'll look to see if she is doing that. And immediately she goes to the middle. Connection not there with Cheshire, though, in the timing.
Not the right decision there, not the right timing there either. I'm not even sure that Cheshire was expecting that, to be quite honest. The two are communicating right now after that miscue there. That's important.
Solid pass. Rulo to Reagan. And the block of the Bruins, only the 3rd of the day, or sorry, I think it's the 6th of the day.
And those are the ones for Oregon State that are really hard to swallow there, right? Oregon State was right there. They had that. And that ball coming right back on the block. The coverage was there. They've just got to be able to stay in those, because UCLA can just put you away so fast. And Mark Bernard realizing how important that one was, because you don't want to let UCLA turn the corner, and that's exactly what they've done these last 2 or 3 points. And he knows it. You can just feel it.
Formico serving. Van Winden and Anderson flanking Felix on either side for the Bruins. That's a big block, and so hitting over it, no touch. The digs keep on coming. And Mark Bernard asking his team, what are you watching? Well, UCLA 5-0 run.
And you see this too. It's like you're just standing around. What are you waiting for? And maybe some players looking at other players saying, you know, is that you? Is that me? And you got to be decisive. And
it definitely happens. You're thinking something's going to develop, it just never does.
It happens to every team too, but you got to fight through it. And that's the way to fight through it. Come right back with a block. In fact, on Sunday, talking with Jen Greeny at Washington State, and she said, you know, we went into a little bit of a lull against Arizona because players standing around looking at each other, no one taking kind of the accountability. You want your players on the court to be able to kind of work those things through.
Well, and you really don't know, and Dave Rubio has said this, I'm not talking out of turn, which Arizona you're going to get. They have had to try to pick an identity. Sometimes they're fantastic, and they sweep the LA schools for the first time since 2003.
About a week and a half ago. That was a big week for them.
Exactly. But they won here and there twice. Or there'll be somebody who loses matches to teams that aren't as accomplished. You don't know when you're playing Arizona. And that's their challenge these last few weeks. They're a very talented team.
Got all the pieces, and you know, Calais Mao not playing at 100%, but boy, did she look good this past weekend. Panina Snooker, the setter for Arizona. I thought Kendra Dalkey, a player that just continues to wow me with her ability all over the volleyball floor. Incredibly talented.
Free ball, Bruins. 1-on-1.
Same play too, right? I mean, Anderson, a heavy ball, heavy arm, big swing, and you gotta stop it before they're gonna stop doing that. I mean, just look at the shot right on the inside of the block. I mean, that's special.
She punishes that ball. Led the Big 12 in kills per set, over 1,000 swings for 2 years in a row before coming to the Bruins and being an impact player here.
How about UCLA using that left side too? They use the right, use the left.
And on the free ball, the Beavs convert. Cheshire on the slide.
Nice comeback too. Oregon State keeping it close. Cheshire, second time that she has executed this. The slide in about the last 4 or 5 points. Now that time it works. Oregon State is right there in this set.
Outside, 2 blockers on, and Anderson is now on a roll.
And you see it, you work so hard to close that gap with UCLA, and then you come back and on the coverage on that tip, that dig just literally puts it right back over. So no, you can't attack the ball if you're Oregon State, and that's what you miss. You want to put yourself in a position to attack, but you can't.
Riley Bushler now with a double-double. Anderson about to get her 10th kill next time around. And Taylor Formico is approaching the most digs in a UCLA match for her. UCLA history is 8. Formico has 26 right now.
Nice block, Oregon State.
Second time's a charm.
Gravely and Wilms has stepped up in the block there, and of course Boucher won the battle on the second time around. There's her numbers, 12 kills and 14 digs for the outside hitter, the junior.
Anderson serving. And another ace. The Bruins have been very tough behind the service line. 8 aces for UCLA as they lead in set number 3.
Brought to you by Infinity. Empower the
UCLA Bruins. You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Pac-12 Women's Volleyball is presented by Tashikara. We've got the ball, you bring the game. And by State Farm, here to help life go right. Spike night on Pac-12 Networks and UCLA leading in set number 3. Tammy, the fight was hard in set number 1. Really fought hard. What adjustments did UCLA make that now have allowed them to dominate a little more freely?
You know, I think Michael Seeley kind of tipped us off a little bit more. I mean, obviously they're able to terminate, and so, you know, that's something that's good. But they've cleaned up, you know, some of the other details. I feel like they're literally service receive is very good. Their passing is better here in set number 3, and they're just able to attack the way that they want. And I also do feel like they look a little bit more relaxed to me here in set number 3. Set number 1, probably not the UCLA team that I thought I would see, but they grinded through. Credit to Oregon State.
Marshall serve, pass by Formico, out of system a bit, and so the block. Blind hitter Rogers right into it.
Maddie Gravely, once again, a big presence at the net. Middle blocker there, number 8. And she's been doing a lot of work for this Oregon State team here in this match. It's not easy to do going up against a very intimidating UCLA team, but she's right there, giving it everything. And
this UCLA team won a national championship in Michael Seeley's first season as a head coach in 2011, and they didn't win it by dominating conference. They just got on a good roll in November, and that's all it has to take, and that is what they have been doing this November as well.
There is the banner that you talk about, the Women's Volleyball National Championship banner. In 2011, Michael Seeley has done a remarkable job, an alum of UCLA. What a feeling that must be to be able to come back and coach at your alma mater and
win a national championship as a player and then again as a coach. Right now the Bruins are trying to win their 18th match in a row versus Oregon State. They had a 3-set sweep over the Beavs October 14th. Van Winden had 14 kills in that one. Formico 22 digs.
Set number 3 has really gotten away from Oregon State. They just can't run an offense. They can't get in system. They're not passing well. Even Mary-Kate Marshall there on the back had a tough time handling that serve by UCLA. Just not getting the offensive execution that they need to beat a team like UCLA.
Rogers tips the ball. The chase is on. Bushler, no touch.
How exciting will it be a week from tonight, Anne-Marie, on another spike night? UCLA will face Washington on the road. Talk about these two teams standing atop the Pac-12 standings and how incredibly important it is to take care of business so far for UCLA, defending home court advantage tonight against Oregon. They're going to have to do the same thing. Could they go up to Washington 14-4? The answer is yes, they can.
And they have not won in Washington. The Bruins haven't since 2003. It's a tough place for them for whatever reason. 13 straight losses up in Seattle, but you only need one.
Look at that block solo there by Van Winden. What doesn't she do?
The Bruins roll on. They have a very tough match against Oregon coming up in a couple of days, and then, as you mentioned, Washington and then USC, and there is no rest for the Bruins as they try to fight this out. Hey everybody, Anne-Marie Anderson and Tammy Blackburn. And Tammy, for each of these teams, what's critical as the season finishes out?
You know, UCLA wants to play clean. They want to play well, obviously play in system and play strong. They're trying to win a conference championship at 12-4. Take care of business here at home. Go up to Washington next week, 14-4. That would be huge. And you never know what Washington's going to do the next couple days, but it could come down to obviously those two teams. Meanwhile, don't forget about a couple of the teams right below them who are also positioning themselves. So it's just not going to be easy from this point on.
Yeah, I mean, and there is no rest. It's Oregon, it's Washington, it's USC. So for the Bruins, it's going to be really tough. Meanwhile, for Oregon State, Mark Bernard saying he's enjoying the role of spoilers. They're going to go over to USC on Friday. And that's going to be an interesting one on Pac-12 Network as well.
Yeah, you know, another crucial match for USC, right? And you just mentioned it doesn't get easy for Pac-12 teams down the stretch for some of their schedules. And Oregon State could go over and try to disrupt the end of the season like they've tried to do tonight. And they're not winning at that here in Pauley Pavilion, but they want to do the same thing Friday night at the Galen Center. Oregon State versus USC. That's this Friday, women's volleyball Pac-12 action, 7 o'clock Pacific time.
USC's had to reinvent themselves several times this year as well. They started off the season just trying to figure out what their setting situation would be, and
what a story it has been in the book that they've written throughout. Elise Ruddens and Kalia Lanier, and playing so well.
Scramble play, but the ball did hit the antenna even as they were trying to save it. And so the Bruins roll on. 2 points from sweeping Oregon State for a second time this season. And another block to solidify. It is match point Bruins. Reagan trying to save that one. And a free ball. Net violation on the Bruins, and match point number 2 coming up.
Substitutions here for Oregon State. Rulo back to serve to try to just give any sort of life left for Oregon State, who's down by 9.
Yep, Madeline Gates, number 16, White up front for the Bruins on this match point. We'll see if she gets a chance to hit a ball, and she will. Match point number 3 as Sam Rulo serving. Gates just getting some experience on the pins. Michael Celia just tried that Monday for the first time, so they're just trying to get her some swings there. But Van Winden ends the conversation as UCLA sweeps Oregon State.
Well, a great match for UCLA coming in here. An important week with 2 weeks left in women's volleyball. UCLA standing at 12-4. The co-leaders of the Pac-12 had to take care of business against an Oregon State team who had won 3 out of their last 5, trying to come down to the LA area and play the spoiler. Oregon State really tip of the cap for great effort in set number 1 and about halfway through set number 2, but it was too much by UCLA. The talent, the depth really got to Oregon State, and they just couldn't hang. The Bruins are rolling.
Meanwhile, immediately the Bruins have to shift their attention to a very talented Ducks team they're going to play in just 2 days' time.
Big hitters tonight for UCLA. Hopefully we'll continue to bring it. Could be a big hitter versus big hitter on Friday night with UCLA going against Oregon. But Jordan Anderson, 9 kills, 3 digs. Riley Bushler, 13 kills and an impressive 15 digs. Match that with a great defensive performance. Taylor Formico with numbers that were just off the chart. 72 total digs for this UCLA team, and Taylor Formico, 27 of them.
Yeah, they don't hit any balls unless this athlete digs them. Taylor, congratulations on another big win. As the rest of the season rolls on, what does this Bruin team need to do?
Keep fighting and pushing and playing tough and playing together and taking care of what we can. We got big matches coming up, so we want to keep rolling and keep playing together.
Taylor, what a great performance. We had just mentioned 27 digs for you. Talk about your performance and what you're trying to do each and every match to just contribute to allow your offense to work and get your team in transition.
Yeah, credit to tough serving. We kept them out of system all game, and they channeled, our block channeled to me, so credit to our blockers and our servers for putting pressure on them and making defense easy for our back row. And yeah, I'm just trying to give my team, be vocal out there, be a leader, and kind of control the court and help my players out when they need help, and it's kind of what I'm doing.
Taylor, there's no question you control the court. We watch you all the time saying, my ball here and moving it. As the one thing that Sealy said to us is he wanted to see the team be more terminal, off transition. How do you as a leader kind of inspire that kind of fire?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the first contact, so controlling a ball that's easier for our setters to get all hitters available. And I'm kind of talking to my team, keeping them in the transition, telling them, you know, off blocker defense, get back transition, kind of talk them and keep them engaged through the plays. So I just do what I can with my voice.
No time to celebrate this one. You have the Ducks next. What should we be looking for in that matchup?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. They're a great team, fast, quick offense. They run a lot of plays, so we're going to work hard in practice tomorrow and be prepared for them Friday.
Thanks so much for making time for us. Yeah. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
We'll show you why this matters so much as you take a look at the Pac-12 standings. At UCLA ahead in the standings for a minute, maybe. Washington is going to play on Friday.
And there you see how close it is. Washington at 12-4. Oregon, who's in town, 11-5. Right there. Stanford, the same, right there at 11-5. A Utah team that positioned themselves real nicely, who is playing so well. Watch out. Pac-12 women's volleyball is going to be interesting. Very interesting down the stretch.
Well, thanks for joining us. So long from Spike Night at Poly Pavilion. A great night as the Bruins swept the Oregon State Beavers. For our director, Jeff Butler, our producer, Dave Feldman, my partner, Tammy Blackburn, I'm Anne-Marie Anderson saying thank you from our fabulous Pac-12 crew, and so long from Spike Night.